So let's move on and let's
Can we talk to Randy? Randy's a repeat caller.
Yes, let's.
Randy. Last time Randy called in, he called in as a theist.
Hey,
and now he's calling in as an atheist.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome back.
Hey, what it do, y'all, man? Glad to talk to y'all again. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving and all that shit.
Absolutely.
Oh, we did. Yeah. What did you want to talk about?
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you guys remember, but the last time we spoke, I spoke how my wife had passed away some years ago, and I was a Christian my whole life. And that caused me to do some investigation, led me to atheist experience, which led me to you, Eric, to your show, to me being an atheist. So
that's amazing. Yes, woo. I remember you.
I just want to point out that it's not my show. I sincerely appreciate it. But Talk Heathen would not happen if it weren't for the collected efforts of the most amazing team I've ever seen, including Bianca and our incredible crew who's working behind the scenes to make it happen.
Thanks for giving us an opportunity to shout out the crew.
Yes.
What's going on this week, Randy?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, we went way left. Hey, shout out to the crew. I'm sorry, you guys. I love y'all. I'm sorry.
No worries. What's up?
Yeah.
So basically, this past year, I've been going through, I own the fact that I've been going through some severe depression and just fighting a battle in my head and everything. Just going to work, everyday life. And I post stuff on my Facebook, put in about facts about the Bible and things that I've learned about, the killing of the babies, the slavery, and I kind of speak on those things a little bit. So I've been trying to make sense of this. About 4 days ago, I was driving to work, and I'm just driving. I'm in an emotional state thinking about my wife and where I'm at now and how I came here. And I'm looking up at the sky or whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, hey, if there's something, anything out there, I need some type of sign, but something that's not open to interpretation. I did that. And that night, I had a dream that a friend of mine named, I ain't gonna say his name, but we used to go to church together and all this kind of stuff. And he's somewhat of a low-key celebrity type dude from Nickelodeon and all that. But we haven't spoken in about 12 years. But he's still a friend on Facebook. But we have not spoken in 12 years. I had a dream that he called me and we had a conversation. And my conversation was me yelling at him on why he was calling me. It wasn't there for me this past years after my wife had passed. That was the exact conversation. The next day, I get off work. I'm talking to my sister about how I've had anger issues and I just need to go get, I'm owning my depression now. I need to go get help. And my phone rings. It's him calling me. Now, I haven't spoken to him, so I answered the phone. I start shaking because I'm still like, man, this is weird. So I answer it. And in my mind, while he's opening up the conversation, I'm still trying to get grips of maybe this is a coincidence or whatever, but I'm thinking about that conversation that we had. That conversation went exactly the way that it happened in my dream. I yelled at him, I disrespected him, and it was wrong. And I came at him and I yelled at him and I got off the phone and I just broke down crying for 45 minutes because I couldn't believe something. And I told my sister, because my sister knows I'm an atheist. And I said, look, I'm not going to lie to you. Yesterday, I asked for some type of sign and trying to make sense of this. And the next morning, when I woke up, I have, until today, this has happened 2 days ago, I have had the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. I am no longer angry. I'm no longer mad. And I'm still trying to make sense of what's going on. I can call it coincidence, but I don't know what. But to be honest with you, I'm kind of nervous because if it is a sign from the biblical God, I'm kind of disappointed because if that's true, it's oh, so you was killing babies and shit. This
a lot is riding on this phone call. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. Okay. So can I kind of tell you what my first impression is and just kind of throw something out there and see how it sticks?
Absolutely.
For sure. So the fact that he called you after you had a dream about this guy, it's very interesting. I mean, I think that would definitely qualify as a really intriguing coincidence. Of course, there could be other factors. Maybe somebody else in your life had brought him up to you and you up to him. And so you guys were kind of thinking about each other. But, I'm not going to hypothesize about that. Hypothesize, get it?
You mean your belief?
I'm not going to theorize about that. But everything after that, to me, sounds pretty mundane, actually. If you had a dream about this guy who really wasn't there for you when you needed him and you were mad, it makes sense that if he called you the next day, you would have a very similar conversation, not only because all of those feelings are real and need to be addressed, but also you have that script in your head already from the night before. So it would be very difficult, I think, to have such a visceral dream that addressed a real issue and then not have it be brought up in the actual conversation. And then you said you cried afterwards for a good 45 minutes, and that sounds cleansing as fuck and just really good. Sometimes you just need a hearty cry. I know I've cried for 45 minutes before and felt amazing days later just because I had let it go. It sounds like you had a lot of catharsis. You had this conversation that maybe didn't go very well, but was needed. You needed to address that. You needed to get that off your chest. And then you had this really emotional moment where you just let it go. And it sounds very much like, from my perspective, that's a pretty good explanation for why you're feeling a little bit better these last few days.
Yeah. No, we can.
Second. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead and respond to me.
It's funny because that's the reason why I called you guys, because I've been trying to process it, and those things have definitely been, because of you guys, I'm skeptical as fuck now with anything.
Yeah.
Good. Just remember, skepticism is what helps you make sure that what you're understanding about the world is for good reasons. But there are other tools.
Right. I'm just trying to make sense of this, and I was like, what are the best tools to go about? And I thought about that too, V. I said, you know what, I did cry, and maybe I've just been holding so much in. That was the pipe bursting, and that was my relief. And I've been thinking about that a lot, but my thing was just, why did I have that conversation? I've thought about all these things, but just as the same thing, be skeptical, but also keep everything on the table. I just wanted to know the best way to go about this, because I'm kind of just not there yet. It's because I even called him back the next day. I was like, hey, bro, I had a dream about you talking to me. And he was like, well, the Holy Spirit. And I was just like, okay, we're going to throw that shit out the window right now.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. I mean, I think the next thing to do is to put holes in the story and see what, stands up. And so that's what I do in my life. That's what V does. And that's what we do to each other, is we try and find where the weak spots are so that we're not overlooking them. And in this case, what I would look for is, hey, if I got a call from anyone in my church, and I was feeling that way, I could take that as a sign. If it was somebody who wasn't there for me, if it was somebody who was there for me, I could convert that into that way. And the other thing is, I dream about lots of things. They don't all come true. Most of them don't come true. And the idea that you could have a dream that has a character in it that you wind up seeing the next day, I mean, that happens. Absolutely. But I don't think that means that dream was in particular special. It's just another dream. The fact that you were motivated to talk to this person at all may have been, brought on. Maybe you're putting the cart before the horse, and the dream is the thing that kicked everything off. But ultimately, when you're looking for a sign, when people look for signs like that, and they're very general, anything can fill it. And I know it sounds terrible. It really does. But if somebody else from your church had called, if your old pastor had called, if a family member, if somebody who cared for you, cared about you, who was there, who wasn't there, would you agree that they may have also been taken as a sign?
Exactly. You're absolutely right. I'm at the point right now to where whatever happened, I feel better and I'll fucking take it. You know what I mean? Right now, whoever it was, I'll take it. Like, I feel better.
I'm so glad that you're feeling better. That is the important thing. You're right. Yeah. The important thing is that you had an experience that made you feel better. And I just want to bring one more thing up, which is... Sorry, go ahead.
That's said in me is that, I'm sorry, the thing that's been said to me is that I did ask, that brings me back to saying that there was coincidence, because I asked specifically that it wouldn't be open to interpretation. And if that was the case, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's a good point. That is a very good point.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that I have friends, I have this one friend who was a pastor in another life, right? He grew up Christian. He he preached, he went around touring as a pastor, as an apologist. He started questioning his faith. And there was a point where he literally couldn't sleep. He got up, he went to the ocean, he yelled. He was like, God, if you're there, you better fucking tell me, because I'm about to walk. I need a sign. I need something, please. And nothing happened. So if this is a sign from God for you, Randy, then that means that God was there for my friend and didn't give him a sign, right? So if everything else aside, if we accept that this was a sign from a God or a entity, that means that this entity has ignored multiple people. I cried. I was on the floor in tears, begging for God to show himself to me, and nothing happened. So in the same way that we say, well, of course you're going to thank God for finding your car keys, but what about all the things that God isn't doing? It's a similar question, right? Like why did God pick this but is ignored so much else? More likely, we have been taught that we need to ask for a sign when we're feeling that level of desperation. And so many people do that eventually someone's going to experience a coincidence around the same time that they say that and take it as that sign, right? Yeah. The sheer number of people who have asked God for a sign in the same day that you did is probably enough to make this coincidence not very coincidental at all.
That is making 100% sense to me. And to be honest with you, I kind of didn't want it to be anything biblical, because if that was the case, I mean, we're all fucked. You know what I mean?
Agreed. And the thing that brings me a lot of comfort, and I hope it brings you comfort in the same way, Randy, you're just not special. None of us are. I'm not that special. V isn't either. And the fact is you know what? People have been saying that I've been saying that the is thing in the comments. I really need to work on that. The fact
and Eric, you're right, because the one thing I've learned through your guys' teaching with lessons that your cause is that one thing I've learned that is practice where I broke away from religion was self-awareness like a motherfucker, because just to take that I'm not special out of myself, that's something that a lot of people can't do. And you're absolutely right. Well, you're absolutely right, V. I think about that. Like, God got me this job. And I'm like, hey, can he just like take $10 off your job? You'll be okay. And like feed some kids in Africa or some shit. Like, fucked up. So I had But
it's so nice to know that you're not in some Greek tragedy, that there's not some overarching story that you're the person intended to lose out, that there's not some, evil creature that's following you around, making sure that you have a shit time. No, we live in an indifferent universe, and that means that it's up to us to create the best life that we can for ourselves, and to give that value and meaning to each other. It's so much more rewarding, really.
Right, man. This shit just makes you want to smoke some weed and watch some Joe Rogan and go down some rabbit holes.
There you go.
Well,
hey, Randy, thank you so much for calling. Thank you for availing yourself of this as a resource, right? Yeah. This is what we want. We want people to come and talk with us about things they might need to bounce another person up against, right? If everyone in your life is going to tell you, oh, well, yeah, it was the Holy Spirit, of course you're going to need somebody from another perspective to give you some context there. And we love being able to do that for you.
Ooh, what's the outsider test for faith? What's the name of the author?
Oh, God. No idea.
Randy, there's a book called The Outsider Test for Faith. I recommend checking it out. I think that would help here. Let's see if somebody in the live chat gets it.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Much love from Compton, California. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you too.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
All right. Later. All right.
That was nice.
I love it when people call back and have clearly been like doing some deep work.
Oh, yeah.
Just like getting in there and evaluating things and asking all the right questions. It makes all of this worth it.
It really does. It's You summed it up perfectly. Yeah, that's exactly it. As we're moving into the new year and finishing up this one, it's definitely nice to look back and have calls like that to recognize, hey, yeah, we're challenging these ideas, but we're raising each other up as well. And not everybody's going to be able to call this show to bounce things off of. But we have a Discord. We've got a Facebook group. We've got a Reddit. We've got an amazing community that's administered by incredible mods, by the way. We love you. Shout out to you guys. We hope that we can keep growing this community. And so if you do want that, consider joining our Discord. That's where V and I are going to be going after this.
Yeah, we're going to hop over there.
Interact with people. So maybe you should join us. We got the link down below us, tiny.cc/ACA Discord.